naifa, the way of the Spirit,
the divine word, the word of truth, the word of the Spirit.
the Or, the law of one, the law of laws, and the law of existence. 9ifa, 6ifa, ghost-ifa. All of them are nature's intelligence. Each one of them has a nature, and that nature is in naifa, because naifa is the source of 9ifa, which is the source of 6ifa in terms of when 9ifa dies, it turns into 6ifa, and when 6ifa dies, or shall I say decays, because 6ifa is already death, and decays into ghost-ifa, ghost form. All of them are nature's intelligence, and all of them have their various ether and energy. And that energy is biological, chemical, atomical, spiritual, and mental.
There are 7 keys to the word, because the word itself is a reflection of the Spirit in material form, mental form, and spiritual form. The logos of the Spirit. The word means nature's intelligence is energy on a physical level. Nature's intelligence is ether on the spiritual level. Well, naifa unifies both worlds. Conscious light energy beings, conscious light organic beings, conscious light etheric beings. Naifarian has a physical meaning. As physical beings, organic, we are conscious light organic beings that can transform into conscious light energy beings, which is the energetic meaning of Naifarian. We are also spirit beings. On the etheric side, we are conscious light etheric beings. We are Naifarians, the children of Naifa, from the Prime Creator on down to creations of the Prime Creator, the spirit beings that were formed by the order of the Prime Creator. Naifa is the original order from which 9ifa, 6ifa, and ghost-ifa sustains itself. 9ifa is the first creation of Naifa. Naifa is the law of one. The one is 9ether, which turns into 6ifa, which itself turns into ghost-ifa. 9ifa through time and age will turn into 6ifa, 6ifa through time and age will turn into ghost-ifa. 6ifa is already death. Ghost-ifa is the death of death. 9ifa is life. But all are part of naifa, which is eternal life, eternal spirit. The truth of this word comes from the Prime Creator. He who has the universal order of consciousness, and the universal order of love, and the universal order of peace. For the Prime Creator comes with the order of naifa, which is the order of the Spirit, from that which appointed him as the Prime Creator. He who created all the boundless universes, he who created all the galaxies and all the planets. The Prime Creator who is designated as Anu, which means the Heavenly One. Heavenly implies above the light, and one implies the soul, for he is the singularity of the soul, from which there are multiplicities of souls throughout the boundless universe which the Prime Creator is connected to. His order in the physical universe manifested in our universe, the authoritative body of Naifa, which holds its organization body on Nibiru. It is the intergalactic confederation of planets that deals with multidimensional worlds, because all worlds are multidimensional. Nibiru is a mothership, has a great star fleet of 144,000 warriors, an elite command force of the 24 elders. We, as Niburians, Anunnaki, Riskarians, deal with the conscious law of awareness, which comes from the constitution of Naifa. The constitution is based on the spirit, the life of the spirit, the book of life, and the book of the spirit. The book of the spirit is on Nibiru. The book of life is on the earth. This is the book that has been transcribed so that people can know now what is written in the book of life and know their fate in the book of life, whether they are fated for damnation or fated for eternal life. We are moving into a new government on the planet Earth. A government of immortality, which will be fully initiated in the year 3030 when we return to the planet Earth. The beginning of this government begins now. From 1999 when the word sprang forth until the year 3030 when we will return. For this 1,000 years, it's all about a lesson for those that were chosen and deemed worthy in this day and time, which are the 144,000. They have been chosen by the Most High, they're already sealed. These beings have been on the earth for 7,000 years. The devil knows of their existence. He's tried to shut them down. He tried to do everything to block them. He has had 2,000 years to prepare. It's not like he hadn't known what the book of Revelation stated, even though the revelation had actually started 6,000 years ago. For the prime creator already knew the end of the story and the beginning, and so informed his prophets throughout the 6,000 years of the revelation that he had. He fully gave it to myself so that I could write the book of life. I gave it to someone else to actually record on the earth. That recorder is also with me. And the one who showed him, the angel that came on my behalf by way of the prime creator, Malachi, the reformer of souls, who prepared and raised the 144,000 and woke all of us up. I was amongst people too, and the seed on the earth, and his light shined, the emerald light of awareness, and it sprouted the seed in my mind, which sprouted in 1999 and has grown into a mighty tree of life, a mighty mental tree. And it has been seeded in many minds. Many people know of naifa, though those people, few compared to the amount of people there are on the planet at this time, considering there's 9 billion people. I've been around since 1973, but the word has been around since 1999. This is the time and the period for me to actually go. And this is also the time and the period that the sunlight, the great emerald light, that has gone through its shadow period, just like every light. It rises in the east, and it sets in the west, and it goes into its shadow period, and then it rises again, and that rising of the emerald light is just about to be, and it will rise while the tree of life is in full blossom. The mental tree of life that came from the seed and the word grew in the darkness, while the emerald light moved in its shadow period, because it had sprouted forth in 1999, but it had been moving in energy and in form since 1990, when I first learned of Dr. Malachi Z. York. And from then on, until 1999, when my mind was ready, it produced the word. And from there, it's grown into a mighty mental tree. Many people have also grown that tree in their mind. However, because of the nature of their minds, what they have already filled it with, the seed has either died or become diseased. And so these minds that are out there that know me, because I am a person of the people. I've been among the people since I was born. And how old am I? 42 at the moment, moving into 43. And I've been on the planet for a long time. And I've been going everywhere, seeding the word. St. Lucia, Europe. I actually didn't go to America with the word, but I went with the nature of naifa prior to it manifesting, and that was in the 90s. I'm not a public person. I am not an internet person. I'm not a beast person. I don't deal with that. I'm not a money person. I'm not a barcode person. So I'm not going to make money from naifa, because you can't sell the air. You can't sell the land. You can't sell the spirit. So then there's no cost for naifa. It's free. So everything I've done and given out and how I've taught it, it's been free. Just like anyone, work in the system and gain a little bit of money, use that money to buy books and buy paper and get my printer and print the book off, give it to people. That's how I work. Anything that's got naifa in it is free. You can't join the spirit, and you cannot say that you are going to join this thing or follow this guy, because it's not the guy you're following. You're following the spirit. You're following your heart. And the heart deals with nature's intelligence. You love nature's intelligence. You love the food you eat. You love the air you breathe. You love the sky that you live under. You love the planet that you live on. Of course, without it, you wouldn't be. These things are living with you as one with you. You're part of it. Without nature's intelligence, you wouldn't find the elements to build your creativity, which is naifa arts, the art of creativity and manifestation. That's how we build civilization. Though the civilization we live under is the Luciferian matrix. It's based on the martial order of war and defense. It's based on martial arts. It is dealing with the laws of sin and death. The Leviathan's power, which is 666. Whereas the universal matrix is dealing with 777 and 999 and 888 also. It's about the revolving awareness, but it locks in 777. Everything is based on the seven heavens, 7 spirits, 7 chakras, 7 planes of life. 7 is a locked number. Naifa is based on that formula, because the formula of the word is based on what we call quantology, which is the science of numbers, letters, and words. When you start to do the numerical value of naifa, utilize the English calculation, you will see that it comes up to 777. The word is perfect. You know, when you read the book of life, you will discover that, because it's written in it, so you can see the formula of the word. We're not part of the Luciferian matrix. We're not part of the Luciferian order, which is personalized under Lucifer. And any form of character, any form of personalization, whether that personalization is a form of person or organization. The Christian organization, Christian does not mean the universe. It does not mean everything in nature's intelligence. No, Christ doesn't mean everyone in nature's intelligence. Christ is someone. Someone. So is Buddha. So is the blasted British government. All criminal organizations. All of you are personalization. All religions on the planet, even their science is personalized. Science is personalized to individualism. Science, which is based on physics, chemistry, biology, astrophysics, metaphysics, that's all separation. You lot deal with what we call the conscious laws of separation. That's what your whole system is based on. That's how the Luciferians can control you through their matrix, because it's got many virtual realities, or many doors or trapdoors. Their matrix is a maze. It's very complex. It holds a lot of things. That's why it's called the Leviathan, a massive thing, a giant thing. It seems beyond everyone that lives under its system. That's why people can't challenge the system in a certain type of way in this period, because the Leviathan has become more complex over the eons, or over the 6,000 years since it came upon the land. Because the Leviathan is only 6,000 years old, but there is an older Leviathan that is millions of years old that is located in the sea, native to the sea. But the Leviathan that we deal with is native to the land. Or shall I say, it has come up upon the land because it had come from the sea. It was conceived from the original Leviathan. These Leviathans have controlled the planet, or shall I say, have held the Luciferian matrix, so these Luciferians can anchor themselves upon the earth. Demons. When we're dealing with naifa, we're dealing with impersonal. We're dealing with the neutral. We're dealing with that which is. It is not personalized. It is everywhere. It is everything. They call it the all. They call it the all that is. They call it all that is. They call it the spirit of all, because they understand, certain beings understand, that whatever it is inclusive of all things. And it's not what they call a personality. It's not someone. The spirit is. And that spirit is naifa. And it appointed the prime soul. It made the prime soul in the darkness, in the dark continuum. And that prime soul is the prime creator. The prime creator that ordered spirit beings into existence, made the universes. Spirit appointed the soul to do so. The spirit is neutral. The soul has feeling. The soul has intellect. So therefore the soul itself created, and the spirit binds everything and tests everything, seeing that the nature of the spirit is life. The nature of the spirit is eternal existence. And all spirit beings have the chance to achieve immortality through the evolution of the awareness, so that a person evolves their awareness to a high degree, so that their awareness unites. So it starts to revolve, because you have the left and the right hemisphere of awareness. And then when they are united, they start to move on the revolving awareness, because now you've assembled all knowledge. Now you can have access to the universal mind and the universal space, so that you can access other areas in the universe and travel interdimensionally and live multidimensionally. This is the course of all spirit beings. Some move through planet to planet in order to evolve, to become a certain type of nature, so that they can achieve their immortality. Others are on a decline, and they're losing ether gases. They are losing their spiritual essence, because the spirit body is made up of ether gases. And the highest concentration of those ether gases is 99 ether. When you come into the physical plane, like for instance a black man, or shall I say a 9 ether man with a soul's matrix, in his beginning incarnation would have had 99 ether. and his soul would have been obviously linked to nine ether or to the prime creator. Now, if that person follows their spiritual alignment and tested by the spirit with the light of truth and the spirit of truth, and they acquire the necessary knowledge and the necessary truth and the necessary understanding and died peacefully or in a state of righteousness, that person is passed on to a new life, sealed with an ankh, and it goes through the 7 lifetimes, because a spirit being is genderless. It doesn't have a gender until it moves into incarnation. Then it gains a gender, and when it dies, it moves back on the spirit plane, and then it is recycled back onto the physical plane into either gender. All spirit beings are on a journey towards immortality, towards the nature of the spirit, which is immortality, and especially the spirit beings with souls, because we are directly linked to the prime creator. The spirit beings without souls, they are trapped in a bottomless pit, and they are soulless, so then they are empty. They're in eternal damnation, but it's immortal. You just moved on the lower level of the spirit to the weakest end of the spirit, which is still immortality, not in comfort, but in torment. There are beings who have lost ether gases through their actions on the physical plane, and then they will turn into 33 ether through their acts, though they still may have a soul's matrix. And then if they turn into 33 ether, though they still have a soul's matrix, they've lost so much ether gases. So then when they return back to the spirit dimension, and if they continue on with their disagreeable nature and their materialistic ways and evil nature, then obviously, because they're going to die, all mortal beings die, you're going to return to the spirit realm, and you're going to have to face the karma of your spirit, because it's the mind space, 6th dimension, and you meet the karma that's in your mind already. And people have memories, and it's their memories that will be their judgment. You know, it's based on the spirit. That's why when people die, their lives flash before their face, meaning they recapitulate their events that led them to their deaths. And then through their own recapitulation, they can determine what was right and wrong, because each and every one of us have the conscious law embedded in us. We all know what's good and we all know what's evil. We can see it. It is within us. It is an inherent law. An inherent law that is taught to us and is inherent within our conscious nature. So we learn through inner consciousness, which is called the silent knowledge, about what is right and what is wrong. It comes through feeling. That's why we have a soul's matrix, and those who are of the earth spirit, they have a soul's nature, so they feel too. We know good and bad. We know what's right and wrong. You know, we can choose to do good or choose to do evil. And then when we end up on the mind space, we are judged based on our choices. And there are consequences. And the consequences is the karma of your spirit, what shadow worlds it aligns with. The shadow worlds of torment, and there are shadow worlds of comfort. The shadow worlds of comfort, the beings that are in them, they are free to roam. The shadow worlds of torment, they are isolated. And they are tormented with their own desires and emotions. And it's terrible, because it's increased tenfold, and it's imaginary. Because the human mind has many things that it imagines in the subconscious, and those imaginations are realities running inside that person. Those things are maybe their fears, their attachments, and all kinds of things. Things come up in their minds, when you think of someone and you don't know what they're doing, but you imagine that they're doing this and doing that, and then maybe you might find out they weren't doing that at all. But in your imagination, you had already imagined a scene, a scenario which wasn't real. And when you end up on the mind space, all these imaginations that you have become your hell. It's a serious thing. It's, in the shadow worlds, it's not easy. In the shadow worlds of torment, it's not easy for those beings that are tormented by their imagination. It's serious. Imagine beings that write horror movies and all those types of things, because those are the things that are running through their imagination. Where do they get them from? And they put them in there, and they think that they don't meet the torment of their imagination when they end up on the mind space, especially if their acts are disagreeable, in alignment with their imagination. Oh my gosh. You know what happens to those beings? It is terrible. If I was you beings, I'd reform quick, change my nature, start learning and fixing up and dealing with the spirit in the way of the spirit, which is love, truth, and peace. That's the way of the spirit. The way of the ghost spirit is fear, terror, and hate. And that's the lower end of the spirit. That's not the spiritual law. That's the conscious laws of sin. The spiritual law is the conscious law of awareness. That is the law, the universal law. The law that runs this society is the conscious laws of separation. That's what runs their society. And the conscious laws of separation yields the conscious laws of sin. The conscious law of separation is 6 ether. And 6 ether leads into ghost. And ghost ether is the conscious laws of sin. Money creates individualism, personalization, personal power, as they call it. So it creates separation. I own this, I possess this, this is mine, this, you don't own shit. The spirit owns everything. The spirit is life. The spirit created life, and life is a network of interrelationship that is spanning the whole universe. Once you follow the way of the spirit, you realize you possess nothing, and therefore you're a part of everything, and everyone is a part of you. So therefore, we share everything, just like we share the air, we share the land, we share the water, we share the fruits that come from the trees that are planted. We share everything. But humans, they come up with this thing called money to create a form of division, separation, artificial intelligence, and creates hate, creates superiority, rich class and poor class divisions. This money thing has really destroyed the human spirit. It is evil. They say money is the root of all evil. No. The presence of money is evil because it's not part of nature's intelligence. Money is what they call artificial intelligence. It has a nature, and that nature is ghost. It is not the universal spirit. It's not the universal life. It's not the universal life on which the planet is moving. The planet is moving in the universe. The planet is a part of, she's a living being, part of the solar mind. The solar system is a part of the galactic mind. The galactic mind is a part of the universal mind. And that universal mind is all one. It is the order by which everything is authorized, organized. Organizes life. You do not join naifa. You can never join naifa. It already organized you. It already put the atoms and things together to make you live in this physical dimension. And it's also the ether gases that are on the spiritual dimension. It already is. It just is. You can't join it. That means you cannot become a naifarian. You are already a naifarian. You cannot join this. You just have to acknowledge it and realize the truth based on the conscious law of awareness. Become aware of who you are and what you are, what you're made of, and what you're part of. It's not about what you got. What you got, those are the beings that deal with possessions. They're fooled by possession. The more you've got, the more people think that you are exclusive on this planet. That's how these people become rich, and everyone wants to be like them and look at them and glorify them and heroify them. And whether they be demons, and most rich people are demons. And most rich people, not say all, because there's some rich so-called people that have the best interest of people. It's just that they've acquired a lot of money, but they're good-hearted people. However, there are lots more rich people that are following the ways of the beast and live in the image of the beast, because that's what they are. That's how they gain their money. They gain their money by suppressing others, dealing with some dirty deals or deals that make profit of people, just to say. So the money thing is very, very, very disagreeable on this planet, and it has to go. It's the tree of sin. Naifa is the tree of life, and that tree of life is dealing with life eternal, life in the spirit, life for the spirit, life growing within the spirit. The spirit is in flesh, the spirit is in spirit, and the spirit is in mind. The spirit is universal. So everything has a spirit. The earth has a spirit, the universe has a spirit. And the spirit, what is the spirit? Only the prime creator knows what the spirit is. We're part of the spirit. We acknowledge the spirit. We're in the spirit. And we know the spirit's way. And the prime creator knows the spirit is law. And he teaches us that it's law. And he shows us how that law operates. And the law is neutral. It's not on nobody's side. As a naifarian, we acknowledge that. And we follow the law of the spirit, and it makes us learn how to live eternally. In joy and harmony and peace and love. We still have excitement, we still have adventure, we still travel the universes full of different strangeness. There's many strangeness throughout the boundless universes. There's 7 super universes, and all of them have billions of galaxies, and all those billions of galaxies have trillions of planets. And on those trillions of planets there are many life forms. The strangeness of the universe is amazing, and the prime creator has given us access to that. Why would he create all that space out there and not give us the ability to get to those different places or those different planets in the universe. First though, we are bound to a planet based on our evolution, but as soon as we step up in evolution and in mental, spiritual and physical evolution and learn how to transform and become like the universe, which is based on light, we would travel as light ourselves. Only sunlight can travel freely through the vacuum. If a humanoid wanted to travel to another planet utilizing a spaceship, he has to shield it up, protect himself from the vacuum, because he can't live in the vacuum. Though there are deep space creatures that live in the vacuum, like in the deep seas of the earth. You have animals that live right down deep in the ocean, completely in the dark. And same thing in the space, you have space-borne life forms. But also you have the native way of traveling through space, which is light form. We have the ability to travel at that speed naturally by transforming into a conscious light energy being, because we are conscious light organic beings, but we can transform into conscious light energy beings. Conscious light organic beings are particle-based beings, because we are particles, but we know that matter can exist as particles and waves. Our thoughts move as waves. So we can actually transform our body into a wave energy and turn into light and travel the universe at light speed, literally at light speed. But then, obviously we can slip through wormholes and, there are passages through the universe to get to other star systems if you go by light energy. And then you can also travel interdimensionally without actually transforming into light. You just take your astral body or your light body to a world. And then, your physical body is still on Earth, but you've traveled there astrally, or you traveled there with your light body. To actually travel to the light worlds, you need your light body. To travel to the astral worlds, you need your astral body. There are many ways, many pathways to travel the universe. Humans have been blocked by the Leviathan, blocked by the Luciferians, suppressed. The information that allows these organic beings that call themselves humans on the planet, allows them access to the universal life, because the soul itself is a matrix that goes through 4 environments. The soul of man has to pass through 4 environments in order to become complete. However, the soul of man only passes through 3, and at the end of life, the soul is removed and the spirit is released, and the body is either buried or cremated. The 4 environments are the earth medium, where the cell divisions are. That's where the sperm meets the ovum and you gain your genetic blueprint and the spark of life. The second medium is the water medium, which is the embryo in the womb, which is where you develop your etheric nature, the fetus development, and it is your astral connection. And then the third environment of the soul is the air medium, which is the birth of the body, which comes with a spiritual nature. And then you end conceived into the spiritual region of the physical environment, which is the air medium, which is a medium of freedom and choice. Because based on your choice in this world and your actions, it determines your course of life, which is a physical development from life to death. And then you have the light medium, which is the 4th environment of the soul, where you gain your soul's liberation, which is based on a mental nature, from the transformation of the organic body into an ethereal body, so you can travel the vacuum of space, which is the 4th environment of the soul, from matter to energy, which is the ethereal development. Only beings that are mental transform into a mental being and enter the 4th environment of the soul. And that means you're an immortal now, because now you've become like the universe. You now conceived from the earth, born physically, and then you are reborn spiritually, and then you can give birth to a mental existence. And therefore you can transform the whole of this vessel into waves rather than have it as particles, because matter exists as particles and waves. So there are those in the universe, like my race, Riskerian, they materialize in a form and then they can return to energy at will. When Anunnakis transform into a Riskerian, what they do is explore different forms. You read about the peacock in the Holy Tablets, who was an actual Anunnaki called Ashan. She shifted into energy, she explored another form, because as you transform into energy and you transform back into matter, you can explore, or shall I say into particles, you can explore different shapes or different life forms. And therefore she had a peacock form of intelligence. At the same time, she had a sentient existence. Anunnakis don't die. Anunnakis transform and they enter the light worlds. there's hundreds of thousands of generations of Anunnakis that actually have transformed and now live in the light worlds. When they're physically born and they're conceived, they are just like us. And then they grow up, transform, and then they have the option of going to the light worlds. And the light worlds are the mental world of the immortals, the worlds of dreams and the worlds of imagination. These worlds, they are magical, mysterious. I've been to a good few of them. One called Naria, which is the light world of my family. My family lives in that light world, or a lot of my family, not all of, a good few of my family live in that light world. The last time I went there, my mum was there, and she's transformed, now lives in the light worlds. Her format is on Nibiru, but she actually lives more in the light worlds. I've been to etheric worlds, which are astral worlds like Venus. They got the worlds that are made up of etons. One world called Pictoru. Pictoru was a beautiful world. It was an etheric world. It was lovely. It was a nice astral world, very much like Earth. Different races, different animals, and they had a beach, a land, facilities, houses, but just a system that is completely different from the system on Earth. Because on Pictoru, they don't have poverty, they don't have poor or starvation. Everyone has the basic things. They utilize what we call the seed economy. And the seed economy is you plant one seed, plant an apple seed, grows into an apple tree. An apple tree has thousands of apples, and then they will grow thousands of apple tree, and then they will grow thousands upon thousands upon thousands of fruits, and they all contain seeds and, abundancy. One seed creates abundancy. That's how the Creator sets up things. There's no poverty. There is no suppression. There is no oppression. Everybody gets anything they need. There's still education. There's still people that has to work, meaning do the thing that they love, or to do the thing that they're designated to do. That's how they live on Pictoru. There's no such thing as money on Pictoru. They have the seed economy. So when I was there, in order to learn about this seed economy, they showed me a piece of gold. And that piece of gold, they said to me, just chuck it on the floor when you want more. I was like, huh? So then I chucked the gold on the floor, and the gold split up into more gold. One thing made about 20 other gold pieces. All those gold pieces, I can go and buy things with them. And if I want more, I just take one and throw it on the floor, and it creates more. So then I always got things to exchange. Pictoru is not like Earth. It's a 9 ether world. Earth, the Earth that we live in the material or the third dimension, is ruled by the Leviathan. It's ruled by the Luciferians. It's a Luciferian matrix. A matrix of fear, terror, and hate. Complete, utter shutdown. A shutdown of the mind, a shutdown of the spirit, and a shutdown of our very need to know. They confuse us with everything, and we want to know, but the system is so big we can't know because we're caught up, we're distracted by this and distracted by that. We don't have time to pay attention to spirit or consciousness. We gotta pay bills. We gotta bloody put food on the table. All those things distracts you in life and existence to explore who you are. We don't grow mentally on this world. We grow physically and die. If you grow mentally, you would learn mental truths, and you will realize that you are a mental being. You are mental and a spirit being. And this flesh thing that we are in is just a temporary vessel. It can be injured by anything. A small little virus can chop it down from birth. An accident, age, 100 years. 100 years is nothing on the planet Earth. And most humans don't even live 100 years. Most humans live 70 to 80 years. And that's nothing compared to, say, a life of a tree. A tree can live up to 3,000 or 4,000 years. Man's existence on the planet Earth is brief compared to other species. You can know these truths, and those truths can open you up to other truths. And along the way, you can find the ultimate truth. What is the ultimate truth? This is the question that people must be exploring. What's the ultimate truth? And the ultimate truth is presence. What is presence? Beingness. And what is beingness? Existence. Beingness, existence, and presence. We are present. We exist. Our existence is exploring our beingness. And our beingness extends to not just one form, but to 4 states or 4 forms. The physical form, the astral form, the spirit form, and the mental form. All forms have bodies. The mental one has a light body. The spirit one has a spirit body. The astral one is an astral body. And then the physical one as we know it. All four of them are linked together as one. We have a light body. We have a spirit body. We have an astral body. And we have a physical body. And all bodies are part of our existence. When we lose one, like for instance, when you lose the physical vessel, you also lose the astral vessel as well. You turn back into your spirit vessel. You also have a mental body. So therefore, that means the spirit body has a mind. So that means, though you're in a spirit form, you are still mind, but you don't have an atom form and you don't have an atomic form no more. That's all. You return back to the spirit domain, which we call the shadow worlds. And the shadow worlds are the realms of the dead. They are a reflection in way of the physical realm, but not a reflection as in to say how the physical world is set up, or even the astral world, how the astral world is set up. The shadow worlds, they have dark environments. They don't have an atmosphere. It's just an environment. In that environment is luminous. You can see everything. And the light worlds is the opposite, is bright. A world is light. It's just a mental world. They have setups like they have on the physical realm, where beings live and do certain things. The light worlds are endless. They're magical. They're based on the intellect in a general sense of the spirit of the intellect, which is based on love, truth, and peace. Once you master the intellect, know what the intellect is, what we are as intellect beings. You have the state of the rational mind and the state of the irrational. And the state of the irrational is like the light and the darkness. You have right knowledge and you have the silent knowledge. In right knowledge, you need evidence, experience, and reason. In the silent knowledge, you need to know the silent mind, which gives you access to the silent reality, which makes you know the silent truth. In both sides, there is knowledge and degrees. So you have 360 degrees of right knowledge, and you have 360 degrees of silent knowledge, which is 720 degrees. So you have mastery over your existence, and you know all realms. You know the physical, spiritual, mental, and astral realms. You know them all. You have access to them. Death is just an illusion. Death is the beginning. There is no such thing, not on the energy level, because we know that energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes. In this world, we can gain our freedom, and our freedom is to transform into the fourth environment of the soul, which is the light medium. And that's where you get your soul's liberation from, the transformation of the organic body into an ethereal body. It's your ethereal development from matter to energy, and learning how to travel in the fourth environment, which is the vacuum of space. Only light can travel in the vacuum. As a physical being, you can only travel in the air medium. The body is based on an organic principle, so therefore it cannot survive in space. You need spacesuits to actually go out in space as an organic being, and spaceships to shield you. But as a light being or an ethereal being, you can actually enter the fourth vacuum, go out into space, travel the vacuum. We understand that the soul of man has to only pass through four environments then to be complete.
We're dealing with all of the states and the realms and the different forms that are existing on Earth and on other realms, because all forms are based on ether, and ether has nature, and that nature is the content of ether. And the content of ether is conscious gases, conscious chemical of all of the gases in nature, naifa, in one. And that one is nine ether. Nine ether that was taught by Dr. Malachi Z. York, he who forerun Tammuz, who is the lion warrior, Malachi, who is the reformer, he who come and taught us and raised us up, shining the great light which he anchored on earth in 1970 when Yanun came into him, a Riskerian. Malachi had the soul of Yanun within him, and so the entity became one with him. And so too am I, Tammuz, who was and is Senenda, returned to this world of the wicked one, evil one, the beast. And we all know who the beast is. The beast is the system. The system is a Leviathan. That Leviathan is the law of sin and death, and it is the way of the Luciferians. Who are the Luciferians? We all know who the Luciferians are. The Luciferians are the Illuminati. They're the Ku Klux Klan. They're the corporate owners. They're the bankers. They are the ones that we call the government, who are wicked and evil. They have no interest in life. They are anti-life, not anti-Christ, because Christ is their boy. And anyone who went against him is anti-Christ. Christ is anti-life. And this is what we are dealing with. Because Christ means death in the sense of what it represents. This being that you call Jesus Christ dying on the cross, which is me, but I didn't die, because you cannot kill a Riscarian. We are immortal. We are eternal. There is no death for us. We understand what it is. It's the shadow worlds. The shadow worlds is the spiritual domain of the earth. We all know about that because we all have spirit. And all of us feels that we are moving through this vessel, or moving through or in the body. And we know that we are consciousness. And that's why we know that consciousness is the source by which we can see the light and manifest light. And that light is information. And that information makes us know of our beingness. We are Naifarians. Yes, Naifarians. Conscious light organic beings, conscious light energy beings, conscious light etheric beings, because Naifarian is in all our states of existence, because it's about exploring our existence as Naifarians. When we are in this manifestation, due to the beast and the Leviathan, we call ourselves any form of something that we are not, because those things are just clothes that we dress up in. And we can put on clothes and take off clothes. That's why man can say, I'm a Christian today, and then get converted, and then I'm a Muslim the next day. Or get converted, I'm a Buddhist the next day. Yes, because all of those are personalization. They're not universal. They are personalities who they come under. You could say they are ego. Naifarian is not ego. Naifarian is intellect. Naifarian is information. Naifarian is intelligence. Naifarian is consciousness, and Naifarian is one with naifa, and naifa is the spirit, the law of the spirit of all, the all, defined. It's an equation, like E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light. Just like how you have naifa. Naifa means nature's intelligence is energy on the physical level, and nature's intelligence is ether on the spiritual level. And so therefore, naifa is inclusive of all levels, because the word itself is mental. So that means it is in rulership of the mental. So that means naifa is all there is to know, and all there is that we participate in, all that we do. We do naifa now. Naifa is happening. You cannot join naifa. You are already in naifa. You are part of naifa. You are already a Naifarian. You follow what we know as the conscious law. And that conscious law makes us aware. We are aware of what is good and evil. We are aware of what is right and wrong. And what makes us aware? Intelligence makes us aware. Sentient intelligence. We are self-regulated beings. As Naifarians, we can assimilate this information, or this light as we've seen it. Light itself is in something. That's how we know of the difference between that which is so-called dark and that which is so-called light. The light is in the darkness, not the darkness in the light. That means the darkness is the greater portion. So therefore, the light is luminous in that darkness. Darkness is a state of peace. It's a state of supreme balancement. In the third dimension, there is matter and energy. And in the fifth dimension, we understand that there is dark matter. And in the sixth dimension, there is called dark energy. All of them come from the seventh dimension, which is where the soul's intelligence is. And that soul's intelligence made the light. And that soul's intelligence moves beyond the light because it made the light. The soul's intelligence comes from the dark continuum. The dark continuum is on the ninth dimension. The third dimension is the material continuum. The fourth dimension is the level of the material continuum based on time. The fifth dimension is the beginning of the Q continuum. The fourth dimension, the first dimension in the Q continuum, because the Q continuum is the realm of vibration, and the universe is vibrating. In that vibration, there is a universal space or universal mind space. And the fifth dimension is on the mind space. It's the bordering. It's the astral realm. But as you move into the sixth dimension, that is truly in the universal mind space, the spiritual realm. And the sixth dimension literally is the realm of the shadow worlds. It's the realm on the mind space. So there is no real death. When people die, they end up on the mind space. They end up on the sixth dimension. This is the third dimension. And in the third dimension, obviously, we occupy what we call a physical reality. But in the sixth dimension, we occupy what we call a mental reality. And that mental reality extends to the seventh dimension, which is where it's all really coming from, because the seventh dimension is the mental plane. And the mental plane shines the original light into the sixth dimension, making the light worlds. And the light worlds are the realms of the immortals. And then the light worlds reflect that energy or that light onto the spiritual realm to make the shadow worlds. And the shadow worlds is where all the dead people go. Dead people are those people that just lose their physical body and turn into etheric energy. That's why we call them conscious light etheric beings. All dead people are not really dead, because there is no such thing. There's just the extinction of name and form, not the extinction of spirit. You cannot kill spirit. You cannot kill soul. Those are part of the ether domain. And we know of the ether, because the ether is the source of what we call emanation of matter. When you move beyond the particles, atoms are made up of protons, neutrons, electrons. Those are made up of quarks, and the quarks are made up of biabs, which are two apertures of quarks. And then you have zeals, which is a meson, and those are truly particle energy. And then what makes up a zeal? Beyond the zeal is when we move into ether. And then we move into ether now, we move into what we call the etheric universe. And the etheric universe is the astral domain. You get what we call the eton. The etons are also a form of, they are particles, but they are particles of the etheric nature. So you can call them etheric particles. And the eton is made up of tachyons, neutrinos, and gravitons. That's what makes an eton. Eton 1 is made up of one graviton, one tachyon, and one neutrino. But neutrinos themselves have flavors. They have three types of neutrino: mono, tau, and electro. Eton 1 can have like one tachyon, one graviton, and you could say one of three neutrinos. And in that sense, they cluster like atoms, and they build the life forms on the astral realm. All astral beings are made up of etons. Etons are etheric particles. Just like atoms, they are atomic particles. These two realms are opposite each other, parallel each other. Beings that are made up of etons, astral beings, they still age just like humans, and they die. But their forms, the way they die, they dissolve, rather than how when humans die, their bodies has to be buried. So the atoms disassemble, which we call decay. So when you're dealing with both sides, you're dealing with still a particle nature. When you're dealing with the etheric side, it's an etheric nature made up of etons and then made up of atoms. And when people on the other side die, on the parallel world die, they also end up in the shadow world. The beings that are made up of etons, they still have spirit bodies, just like the beings that are made up of atoms, they have spirit bodies. And both of us occupy parallel dimensions. Humans visit these worlds through dreaming. When they dream, some dreams, you enter the dimensions of the mind. And the mind itself is on the mind space, or the universal mind space. And the astral dimension is on the universal mind space. So that's how it's accessible to physical beings, because we have an etheric body. We all know it as the astral body. And the astral body can literally separate from the physical body and visit the astral dimensions. The mind is actually linked to these astral dimensions through 7 dimensions. So everyone on Earth has 7-dimensional minds. Though we know the Luciferians and those of their seed have 6 chakras, and the 7th one is actually locked or closed or blocked. So therefore, they only have access to 6 dimensions within their mind space. They cannot access the universal mind space, which you basically need 7-dimensional reality. You have to have the crown chakra open. These beings themselves can only access a portion of the astral dimension.
whereas melanated people, those with chakras that are 7 and 9, because there are those who know that chakras themselves are spinning vortices, and we are linked to 2 extra ones that connects us to the earth and the heavens. So we have what we call the 7 chakras, and you have your earth chakra, which links you directly to the earth, and you have the heaven chakra, which is another chakra that is extended outside of the body, which links you to the heavenly chakra. And therefore, when you access these 2, you can open up and you could change, you can transform, because the 7 chakras, they are spinning vortexes that can allow you to shift and move through dimensions, but you still have a physical body. But in order to transform the physical body into, say, pure energy, you have to access the 2 higher gates or 2 higher chakras. Going back to my original point, naifa is the spirit of all existence. We are naifarians. The beast has taken over everything. He has shut down the truth. He has blocked human beings from knowing just a little bit of truth. And that little bit of truth that we supposedly know is only about 3 or 4%. And that means 96, 97% of the truth is blocked from us. Literally, humans don't explore their existence. Humans believe that going into space is the way to, like, the final frontier. And it is not the final frontier. The final frontier is the mind and the existence of the being, exploring existence, exploring the mind. And the mind itself is connected to the universal mind, which is connected to all space-time. That means through the mind you can visit anywhere in the universe. We can actually go there astrally, and we can visit these worlds. And we do visit these worlds because many human beings have what they call astral experiences. He literally had a dream, and he saw what he saw in his vision, which was another world. That means he must have traveled there etherically to actually have seen such a world, because these worlds exist, and they exist on the universal mind space. We can access them, we can go to them. Remember, the universe is, okay, listen, the universe, as we know, has 100 billion stars. There are 7 universes, or what we call super universes. All of them are moving around a central universe, but there are 7 universes with different space-times. And all 7 universes have billions of galaxies. And in those galaxies are there's trillions of stars. And that means there's trillions upon trillions of planets. You can't even imagine the different forms and states out there. Human sci-fi writers, you're just touching what strangeness there are out there. It has all kinds of life from different states, from different forms, atomically, chemically, biologically, energetically, and they're different from each other. Different galaxies have different formats. In our galaxy, the format is a humanoid form for sentience. Actually, in 19 galaxies, the humanoids is the prime form for sentience. But there are other galactical clusters where, say, multibipedals, or you could say like insect-like creatures, that are the dominant sentient form within that cluster of galaxies. That is the template for sentience. Whereas in this cluster of 19 galaxies, humanoid form is the prime form for sentience, though it's not actually exclusive, because there are still planets within our 19 galaxies where there are sentient form that are quite different from our own, and they don't walk with 2 legs and 2 arms. There are a cluster of stars or a cluster of galaxies that have a species that are plant-like. And these species that are plant-like, that's the ruling sentient form within that cluster of galaxies, because these plant-like species spread their seeds throughout the whole of their galaxies. And there are plant species throughout on many planets that are sentient and humanoid like us. And some of them have different shapes and forms. Like you have a sentient tree that communicates by sound and light. When it collects the light from the sun, it stores the light and it can emit light. And by emitting light, it has a way of communication through light to beings that necessarily can't speak its language. It can speak, they can understand its light forms, so they can know what the tree is talking about, because the tree is sentient. That's one type of sentient plant-like kind. There are many different forms in the universe. The universe is really strange, and you can explore it. You can explore it through dreaming, or If you know how, build a starship, go into hyperspace, and visit another planetary system and actually visit these people. Or, if you know how, transform into pure energy from a conscious light organic being into a conscious light energy being. You're in a light energy form. And in a light energy form, you can move at light speed. That's a maximum speed that you can move at. And you can move to the fourth environment of the soul. However, there is the Leviathan. And Leviathan makes you believe in death and worship death, because everyone dies, or shall I say everyone on the course of life to death dies, because there is a course from matter to energy, which is the Niferian way. But the human way is from life to death. You don't know the conscious law of awareness? You all know the conscious laws of separation and the conscious laws of sin and death, desire and emotion. Desire and emotion comes from the conscious fire gases. And then you have the conscious death gases, which is complete fear, terror, and hate. And then you have the conscious light energies, which is love, truth, and peace. And that's based on right knowledge, right wisdom, and right understanding. And that yields what we call sound, right reason. The sound, right reason is that nature is intelligent energy. Nature's intelligence is energy. That's sound reasoning. That is the spirit. That is naifa. I am a naifarian. Tammuz, the one that was sent from the Most High and is guardian of this earth. As the guardian of the earth, I have to go through these stages in order to master the earth and master the beings that I have to look after on the earth. And those beings, they are suffering under Leviathan, who has invaded this earth under the Luciferians. They're the ones that brought the Leviathan to the earth to subdue the earth while they anchor themselves on the planet. And they return through incarnation, and the Leviathan keeps their order. It keeps their matrix. They have what we call the Luciferian matrix. They can access their knowledge from their light order, their light codes, and it tells them what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. It instructs them, and they come from the amber light order. The Luciferians invaded this earth around 6,000 years ago, but then you had other Luciferians that came to the earth millions of years ago under the Red Dragon and brought a Leviathan from the Moon Titan. And then you had these other Luciferians that cast out from Malakut, which is the Q continuum, and were cast down, and these beings were in the light worlds, and they were cast down to the shadow worlds, and they came back into the physical world because they could no longer remain in the light worlds because of their fall. 200 fell with the Great Dragon, which was the son of the Red Dragon. The Red Dragon, he's the one that caused the first war in heaven. And in his son, the Great Dragon, he was the one that caused the second war. And now both of them were cast down. The Red Dragon went to the Moon Titan. The Great Dragon went to Nevada. Both of them came to Earth by way of ship. And they literally came here, invaded this planet, bought certain stuff, and then they died here. They brought the Leviathan. Like when the Red Dragon came, he brought the Leviathan to the earth, and then when he was killed on the earth, he became part of the earth domain. He was anchored to the earth spirit domain, so he could return back to incarnation and acquire his knowledge or acquire his identity by connecting with the Leviathan. The Red Dragon, he's been there millions of years, and then the Great Dragon, he came down here 6,000 years ago with 200 other Luciferians that fell with him. Though these Luciferians, they were actually naifa beings, but they followed a personality. This is why they fell and became Luciferians. The one who they follow was the so-called head boy, and he was the illuminated one. We all know that Lucifer means the light bearer. And the light that he bears is the amber light. And that amber light comes from the red sun. And the red sun is the red dragon. And he's the one that illuminates or is luminous. And that luminous is what we call a red giant, because his star died. He's a dead star, and we all know that red giants are dead stars. They just expand and consume everything, consume all the planets in the star system, turns eventually into a white dwarf when it expands enough and burns out the rest of its fuel, because it's not nuclear reactive no more. It's in ghost ether now, it's in a ghost form. And we know the reflection of ghost ether is the moon. On the earth is a reflection of 6 ether, and the sun is 9 ether. 9 ether, 6 ether, ghost ether, because on the earth you have life and death. That life and death is based on an order, and that order is martial. So you have the martial order on the planet Earth. This is why life forms have to feed on other life forms in order to survive. So that's why you have a food chain. Human beings, as they call themselves, are on the top of the food chain. It's a martial principle based on killing and death. And this is why the Luciferians have used this order in order to perpetuate their order. Because though the martial order is how life moves on this planet, don't think you vegetarians get away with it because you kill plants. Killing is killing. In order to eat something, it has to be dead on this earth. Kill an animal, the thing is dead now, so they eat the dead flesh. We eat dead matter. It's not living matter. Though the earth is alive and it is living like matter, but really and truly it's cut off from the life source in order to actually consume it. Those who have transformed and know the higher truths and have evolved their body to a higher state, they can feed off light, they can feed off the sun. We know that cells themselves do not eat food. Cells are energy, so they give off energy. We eat food, we know what food is. The body extracts all the minerals and all the life substances in order to keep the cells powered. But the cells themselves are what really gives energy. So therefore, the food itself is not really energy. We're not taught certain things in school, so we don't really understand food or the mechanism of why we eat food. You know, they try to teach things in science and stuff like that, but the science of this world is based on the conscious laws of separation. This is why their science is a load of bullshit and it's boring. And this is why they theorize about everything, because these motherfuckers don't know shit. They actually don't know. They don't know an atom. They study an atom, but they don't know an atom. To know an atom is to trace an atom's existence and trace it back to the beginning when the atom was formed and when the neutrons and the protons and the electrons came together to form that body. An atom is a body. An atom has a mind, an atomic mind, memory. Humans don't know this. Humans know of the energy that is contained in atoms that they can extract and cause devastating explosions or power their nuclear facilities. They don't realize that atoms themselves are living beings that have a mind, and you can explore and communicate with an atom and learn of its existence, because an atom can trace its existence back to the beginning, to the dawn of the universe. Those are the initial atoms that were scattered. The particle nature formed other atoms. These subatomic particles came together to form an atom. That's when it began its life existence. The atoms are dust, and the sun blows up. You have nebula clouds, and those are just atoms. So those atoms themselves are still atoms. They still have experience. And in their experience, their collective consciousness, because they come together in relationships like love and hate relationships, atoms themselves have what they call affairs with other atoms. They group together. This is why our body is made up of various forms of atoms. And those atoms are based on the atomic table, which they say there is only 117 that humans have discovered, but really there's actually 144 atoms. The Leviathan is a criminal body that is based on the law of sin and death. Naifa is the principal law by which we know that the Leviathan is a criminal organization, because the Leviathan is a thing that was set up utilizing artificial intelligence, utilizing nature that is contrary to the universal law, to the universal spirit. So Naifa is the law from which we know this system that we're living in, and these organizations, these so-called governments, are based on a criminal format. They're not based on a legitimate order or a legitimate authority, which is coming from the universal order. The universal order is the base foundation from which nature's intelligence organizes life. It's already in operation. And there are beings that sit in authority, and you could say sit in rank over forces. So nature's intelligence has an administration. This is why we have the Council of Nine, or the 9 Inads, and then you have 9 individual races or species that come together in the order of love, truth, and peace. They are like the police force. They are the legitimate authority that governs the intergalactic confederation of planets. That means they govern all the planets that are in that confederation, and it's spanning 19 galaxies, and it's inclusive of many worlds. And those worlds are all paradise worlds, and the ones that are labeled off limits are penal colonies or prison worlds. Like the planet Earth. The planet Earth was quarantined as a penal colony, then it became a prison planet. Now we're going to liberate it and bring it into a paradise world, bring the order of the law to the conscious beings on this planet, because the animals and the life force of the planet and the planet itself and the beings that live inside the planet already follow that law. It's just the beings on the surface that are blocked from the universal law by these criminals who actually set up an organization to create a matrix using advanced technology to actually shut down human beings so that they would lock themselves into their matrix and go against the universal law and do things that are completely contrary to the way of the spirit. And so there are consequences, because we are all spirit beings. And spirit beings, they are bound by the law of the spirit. You know, there is no escape from the spirit. That's why there is death, as you would call it. Death is a renewal of life. It's to renew life. So then the spirit of death moves at 6 ether. That's what it is. Life moves at 9 ether. Ghost is the death of 6 ether. That means it's decay. It's the decay of death. Like when you see in a rotten corpse, that's why you've got organizations such as the Skull and Bones, because they deal with the ghost form of ether, which is the ghost form of spirit, which is even worse than death. I mean, death is not so bad, because death is just the extinction of name and form so that you can be recycled back onto the physical plane and learn the karma of your deeds. So that's completely natural. Ghost is unnatural. Ghost is the deterioration of the spirit. It is the decay. It's the maggots and the rottenness that comes from death. And this is what they did. That's what they did with horror. Horror is unnatural. So that's why you've got 3 classes of nature: natural, supernatural, and unnatural. All the classes that they fall under in terms of their demons and witches and warlocks and werewolves and ghouls, those things fall in the unnatural. And then you've got those that fall into the supernatural, which is the light beings, extraterrestrials, utilizing telepathy, telekinesis, interdimensional travel, turning from matter to energy, utilizing energy principles. That's supernatural. And then obviously you have natural. Natural is 6 ether. 6 ether is natural, meaning the cycle of 9 and 6. Because when you're born, it is 9 because of the coming together of all the elements that bind you. And then when you grow into 6. And then when you die, it's ghost. So in a general sense, when you reach the age of death, that would be the dead body. And then when your body is in the coffin, it turns into ghost because it's starting to rot away. This is what they deal with. That's why they do a lot of death rituals. You know, you've got their Satanists and cannibals and their sickos that would even go and have sex with corpses. We've heard about those things. These people that will kill people and still try to sex their body after they're dead. A sick ghost manifestation, a personification. We have to get rid of it. It has to go. It's got to go. It's evil. You know, it's against the universal law. It's against the principle of the law. You understand? The law is the law of the spirit, the way of the spirit, which deals with love, truth, and peace for sentient species like ourselves. We know that the law that humans move with in this day and time is fear, terror, and hate, based on desire and emotion. And the Luciferians trap them in desire and emotion because desire and emotion is 6 ether. And fear, terror, and hate is ghost ether. Love, truth, and peace is 9 ether. That means love, truth, and peace are all supernatural. They're supernatural things. Why? Why is peace supernatural? Because peace is not natural. Peace is not a natural thing. No species is actually peaceful to another species in naturality of life forms feeding on other life forms. As you know, animals feed on other animals and they feed on the vegetation of the land, so they practice the law of killing. We know that that is natural. Supernatural transcends that. Supernatural is beings that's transcended their nature and can form a civilization governed by a harmonious balance between them and their environment and the people that live with them, because obviously they roll with a 9 ether system. They deal with the seed economy. They deal with harmony. They don't deal with antagonism. They don't deal with fear, terror. They don't deal with poverty. They don't deal with hate. They don't deal with oppression. No. That is unnatural. A natural system is the principle of living in your different cultures and your different ways. And a supernatural system is if you can create a global system where every culture lives to the optimum based on the universal principles of harmony and balance between all the races on the planet. Now that is a naifa system, and naifa systems those are dealing with the paradise planet. That's dealing with the direct order from the intergalactic confederation, the direct authority, and you're not under no suppression of some setup by these Luciferians who set up illegal operations throughout the universe. The police force, who are Riskarians, Anunnaki, and various other beings that come under the intergalactic confederation, which has many subsidiary races that are part of that, just like the UN, and you've got many nations that are a part of the UN. So with the Intergalactic Confederation, you have many species from different galaxies and universes that are a part of the Intergalactic Confederation's body based on its administration. It rules this sector of space. Well, this space is ruled by the Intergalactic Confederation. Its main authoritative body is on the mothership Nibiru. The head on Nibiru is Anu. He's the highest. It is his rule that rules this universe as we understand it, because he is the one that formed the 19 galaxies amongst the other clusters of many galaxies within this universe. Anu himself formed them, and he has a log within the 19 galaxies of this universe. That log is on Nibiru, and we can go and see him in that form, in that log, and we can feel him and we can hear him through our connection through the soul that is directly connected to his soul's matrix, which is the singularity of the soul. We can be in direct communication with Anu. All Anunnakis are in communication with Anu. It's this Anu that gives them the advice. Anunnakis may talk to each other, but when they seek advice, we seek the Father's advice, because when we deal with each other such, we might tend to argue based on opinions, but through following the advice of the Father, we agree. And Anu is the highest, he's the supreme, he's the decision maker, and we follow his order and his will. And this is how we live in peace, because Anu has the best interest of all soul beings, and his way is the way of the spirit. His way is immortality, eternity, and that's what his children are destined for. As a Naifarian, a child of Anu, I follow the way of Anu, which is the way of the spirit, the law of the spirit, and I see these criminal organizations on this planet as just that, criminal organizations which will be prosecuted under the original law, the law of one, and this is how we are able to prosecute them. The foundation of existence and administration of life, which is nature's intelligence, denotes that this is a criminal organization. Therefore, as a criminal organization which it breaks the legitimate rules of sentience and rules of civilization to create civilizations that are adverse to life, that are anti-life, these organizations are criminals, and under the law they will be prosecuted. And so therefore, your police, meaning your British government, your American government, the governments of China, the governments of Russia, you're all criminal organizations. You are not legitimate. You haven't got the authority of the Prime Creator. He gave you no authority. You lot set up your authority under the Luciferians and Lucifer. And he is the one who was a criminal that was cast out of the galactic heavens based on his criminality. And he was cast down to the penal colony. This is this planet, which became a prison planet. And so therefore, he's just in prison. This prison may seem like freedom to y'all, but you are all spirit beings. And then we've set it up now that we're going to deal with the spirit kind on this planet. So no spirit is exempt from you ghosts, ghoul spirits that live in the ether zone, and to you spirits that are manifesting in flesh and blood, who are ghost natured. You're going to be dealt with severely. Your time is up. Under the law, you will be prosecuted. You have been prosecuted. Now it's actually your sentencing. Justice time. Now it's time to actually show your weakness, your inferiority to the law. Just like any criminal organization on this planet, according to their governments, they are a criminal organization. They can be brought down, just like what's his name, Al Capone back in America. It was a big organization, but the government still brought it down. In their government still brought it, because he ain't bigger than the government, because the government is the biggest criminal organization. They're the ones that set up the federal system in America. They're the MI6, they're the MI5. These are all intelligent agencies. Their intelligence is military intelligence. They are the order of ghost ether. They are not the universal spirit, which is naifa and nine ether, because naifa created nine ether, which is the law of one. Nine ether is the one. And then nine ether turns into six ether. So that means six ether is the death of nine ether. Ghost ether is the death of death, because it's the death of six ether. The order that they deal with is the death of death. It's not even six ether anymore. It's the death of death. It's completely ghost and evil to the largest and the highest degree. They will be prosecuted under the law. Naifa is the law of laws, the law of existence, and the law of one. The spiritual law, the mental law, the physical law. It is the law of laws. Naifa.